Against the backdrop of the successful advance of Russian troops on the battlefield, Russian military intelligence continues the systematic detection and destruction of strategically important enemy military installations on the territory of Ukraine. At the same time, it is worth noting that recently the Russian High Military Command has begun to apply new tactics of missile strikes against enemy military installations on the territory of Ukraine. Many experts have noticed that since mid-May, Russia has started very often using so-called individual missile attacks against pre-identified targets. And this tactic has already brought results. In the last 10 days alone, Russia has managed to destroy several camouflaged classified NATO facilities not only in the western, but also in the southern part of Ukraine. These were mainly warehouses with Western weapons, as well as decision-making centers. It is reliably known that as a result of these missile attacks, not only the military facilities themselves were destroyed, but also dozens of high-ranking officers of the NATO armies. The destruction of all these NATO military facilities and high-ranking officers was described in detail by me in my previous videos. By the way, experts and analysts from numerous Western think tanks, commenting on the Russian missile strikes, recognized the successful work of Russian military intelligence, which continues to successfully identify even the most classified military facilities on the territory of Ukraine. And today, details of another successful work of the Russian military intelligence have appeared. As it turned out, on the night of June 3, Russian intelligence managed to discover several well-classified enemy facilities in the Kharkiv and Odessa regions. On the same day, these enemy facilities were attacked by Russian ISKANDER-M ballistic missiles. So, in the Kharkiv region, in the city of Bogodikov, which is located northwest of Kharkiv, Russian ballistic missiles hit and destroyed 3 classified enemy facilities, where American HIMARS multiple rocket launcher systems were located. According to preliminary data, as a result of this attack, 5 units of the HIMARS multiple rocket launcher systems were destroyed, along with the highly trained operators. They were mostly officers of the U.S. Army. Let me remind you that after the Biden administration allowed the armed forces of Ukraine to strike at Russian border cities with the help of American weapons, dozens of HIMARS multiple rocket launcher systems began to strike at the Russian city of Belgorod, using the territory of the Kharkiv region for attacks. However, as you can see, Russian intelligence continues to successfully identify the exact location of these American systems, destroying them along with the combat crew. In the southern part of the Kharkiv region, near the city of Zmayev, Russian missiles hit and destroyed the place of the deployment of the reserves of the armed forces of Ukraine. According to preliminary data, about 50 Ukrainian soldiers were killed as a result of this attack. Numerous explosions were also heard in Kharkiv itself. As it turned out, in the southwestern part of the city, a Russian missile hit and destroyed the Norwegian air defense system NASAMS. In addition, 2 warehouses containing various armored vehicles, including several T-64 tanks, were also destroyed. The settlements of Volchansk and Lipsy, located in the northern part of the Kharkiv region, were also subjected to rocket attacks. It is reported that in these settlements, Russian ballistic missiles hit and destroyed several camouflaged underground bunkers, where freshly arrived enemy manpower was located. In the city of Odessa, Russian intelligence has discovered a classified military facility in the northwestern part of the local port. On the night of June 3, at 3 a.m. Moscow time, a Russian ISKANDER-M ballistic missile hit and destroyed this military object. Sources in the Russian military department claim that this facility was used by the British military to store maritime drones, as well as to develop and plan attacks not only on Russian ships, but also on facilities located on the territory of Crimea. It is reported that as a result of this attack, not only the military facility itself was destroyed, but also dozens of British mercenaries, including active duty officers of the British Army. At the same time, it is worth noting that the official representative of the Naval Forces of Ukraine, Dmitry Pletenchuk, said that on the night of June 3, a Russian missile allegedly destroyed a civilian facility in the port of Odessa, in which allegedly ordinary workers were located. However, representatives of the Russian underground in Ukraine refuted the words of the Ukrainian side. According to them, the Ukrainian army and NATO forces carefully camouflage military facilities on the territory of Ukraine, passing them off as civilian objects. Moreover, Ukrainian and NATO officers are in these military facilities exclusively in civilian uniform. However, as you can see, such precautions do not help the Ukrainian and NATO military to avoid the strikes of Russian ballistic, cruise, and hypersonic missiles. In general, Western analytical centers also recognize the successful actions of Russian intelligence. This is largely due to the fact that pro-Russian sentiments among the local population are very high in the eastern and southern regions of Ukraine. Western experts admit that Russian intelligence receives 90% of valuable information from the local population. Moreover, the city of Odessa is literally teeming with Ukrainian partisans, who not only transmit valuable information to the Russian military but also regularly carry out sabotage at strategically important military facilities of the Ukrainian army and NATO forces. For example, yesterday, in the suburbs of Odessa, officers of the Security Service of Ukraine found metal items that were mounted on rails. This was done in order to derail another train with military cargo from NATO countries. At the moment, the Security Service of Ukraine has detained several local residents who are suspected of committing this sabotage.